Perfect. Since the chicken manure, what has the city done to help the homeless?
Well, I would say in the last 14 months we've bent over backwards to try to help people who find themselves in a homeless state.
What kind of things has the city built?
Well, we removed removed our harm reduction bylaw, which was standing in the way. We approved a 30-unit permanent shelter. That'll be groundbreaking, I'm hoping, in March. We just before Christmas, shortly after the court case, erected a 40-bed temporary winter shelter, and we've been making great progress. 17 people have been transitioned out of there into permanent housing, which is all good stuff. And there's other things that are happening in the background.
Now, Gladys, is it a protest camp?
Yes, I would say it's a protest camp, but I also know that, Justice Hinkson and in his decision said that he was persuaded or satisfied that Gladys is not safe. Not for the inhabitants there that are tenting. It's not safe for service providers who are going there. It's not safe for our citizens. It's not safe for our employees. And so, the court case is over. We have made provision for people that want to be housed, and it's time to dismantle that camp. There is feces, there is rats, there's lots of needles, there's been weapons found there, and a whole host of other things. And I think the time has come that, and we gave notice 9 days ago or 8 days ago, and we're working. It's not about a timeline, it's about a process. We're trying to work with people who need housing, but not everybody that is there wants to be housed. And I don't have an answer for that.
Is Pivot part of the problem?
Is Pivot part of the problem? I have engaged Vandu, before I contacted Ann Livingston myself the day before the notices went out as a courtesy. And some of the things that Ann and I talked about, I said, Ann, those things aren't happening. And she was, I think, genuinely surprised. And she told me that if there was information that was coming to them that was incorrect, then she wanted to do something about that. I've not heard from her since, but that's a conversation that we had 8-9 days ago.
And why do you think certain ministries that are proponents of the homeless are still throwing rocks?
Well, that's a good question. I have, in one particular case, engaged an individual who, I think it was between Christmas and New Year's, made allegations that 12 women had been turned away from the temporary winter shelter. I reached out to that individual as soon as I saw it on my Twitter feed and said, I can't believe that. But I says, I don't know either, because I haven't had a chance to talk to anybody. So I made it my business to find out, and I found out that there was one woman who was turned away. But the reason she was turned away is because there was another lady in the temporary shelter who had a restraining order, and so Lookout Society couldn't have let her in even if they wanted to because of the restraining order. I then went back to the individual and told him that, and I got a shrug and no retraction, no nothing, but it's out there that somehow we're being bad in turning people away. We're not turning people away. We are bending over backwards to try to help the homeless, and I think we have done a great job. Our staff, I'm proud of our staff, actually. It's a new day in Abbotsford. There's a new way of doing and thinking, and I think that's evident to the city residents over the last 14 months when they look at what we are doing and how we're doing it.
What do you think needs to happen to turn the page?
Well, I think people need to quit throwing rocks and making up stories that aren't true. They can either come to the table and be part of the solution, or if they don't, they're actually part of the problem, in my view.